Good morning, this is Miss Crea, and today we're going to talk about Pythagorean theorem. Pythagorean theorem is a rule having to do with right triangles, which are triangles that have right angles in them. Right angles 90 degrees. So I have an example triangle here with a right angle. And when you look at this triangle, we're going to label the sides of the triangle. So we're going to start with the hypotenuse, which is the longest side, and it is across from that right angle. The hypotenuse is the letter C. And then we have our two legs of our triangle, and they are labeled A and B. Okay, so we've got our hypotenuse, and we've got our two legs, and those are A and B. Now, it does not matter which one is A and which one is B. I could have switched them around, but just to stay consistent, I'm going to label this one A and this one B for this situation. All right, so Pythagorean theorem tells me that A squared plus B squared equals C squared. So that means the value of side A, so however long side A is, squared, meaning times itself, plus the value of B times itself equals the value of C times itself. Okay, so for example, we're going to draw a little triangle here. We're going to keep it simple. Okay, so say this is 3, this is 4, and this is 5. Okay, I'm going to say that this one is A, this one is B, and this one is C. Okay, so I'm going to fill this in. 3 squared is my A value. My B value is 4, so I'm going to write 4 squared equals my C value, 5 squared. Okay, so let's see if this works. Okay, 3 times itself is 9. 4 times itself is 16. 5 times itself is 25. And if I add these together, 9 plus 16 is 25. Okay, so this is the rule we're going to use today. This is what it looks like in action. All right, today we are going to work on finding the missing hypotenuse. So they're going to give you the two legs, and you have to use that information to find the hypotenuse. So it says find the length of each hypotenuse, round to the nearest hundredth if necessary. Number 1 says find the length of the hypotenuse of a right triangle with legs that are 5 inches and 8 inches long. Okay, so we're going to draw a picture for what they just described. Okay, we have a right triangle. So I'm going to draw myself a triangle. I'm going to put in this little square to represent the right angle. And they told us that the legs are 5 and 8 inches long. So I'm going to label it 5 and 8. Remember, the legs are the two sides on either side of the right angle. All right, they want us to find the hypotenuse, which is the longest side across from that right angle. So we're looking for our hypotenuse. Let's go ahead and label our sides with A, B, and C. Okay, so I'm going to say that my A equals 8, my B equals 5. You could switch them. It would not matter. However, our hypotenuse is always C. All right, now remember our rule is A squared plus B squared equals C squared. In order to use the rule to find the missing hypotenuse, we're going to start by substituting in what we know, okay? We know what A is. A equals 8. So I'm going to write 8 squared. We know what B is. B equals 5. So I'm going to write 5 squared, and that equals C squared. We don't know what C is. That's what we're trying to find, so we're going to leave that as a letter C. All right, after we substitute in the values, we're going to simplify as much as we can. So you're going to start by doing those exponents. Remember, 8 squared, so 8 with an exponent of 2 is 8 times itself. That means 8 times 8. 8 times 8 is 64. The next one, 5 squared, or 5 with an exponent of 2, means 5 times 5, which is 25. All right, now that you've done your exponents, we can add together our two values. 64 plus 25 is 89. All right, so now we know that c squared equals 89. We want to know what the length of this c is. That's not 89. That wouldn't make sense. If I had 89 here, that number would be way too big to have 8 and 5 in our triangle. So this is not our final answer. This means that c times itself equals 89. So in order to work backwards, when you know that something times itself equals a number and you want to know what that something is, you take the square root of that number. So we're going to do what is called the square root of 89. Okay, and this is when you get to use a calculator. So we're going to pull one up on our screen here. Oh, I don't have calculator on here. That's annoying. All right, we're just going to have to search for it. All right, I'm going to use this one. All right, so I'm going to find the square root of 89. So I need the square root symbol, 89. And that gives me 9.43, and it keeps on going. But we're going to go with 9.43 because our instructions said round to the nearest hundredth. So our final answer here is C equals 9.43 for number 1. Number 2, they don't explain anything to us in words. However, they do give us a picture, and we know our instructions are still to find the length of the hypotenuse. And in this picture, we have a triangle with a right angle, and our legs, which are on either side of the right angle, are 4 and 5. So we're going to use our two legs to find our hypotenuse. I'm going to label 4 as A, 5 as B, and then we're trying to find what C equals. All right, we're going to copy down our Pythagorean theorem rule. A squared plus B squared equals C squared. Then we're going to fill in what we know, okay? We know what A is. We decided A is 4. So I'm going to write 4 squared. Next, we know what B is. B is 5. So I'm going to write 5 squared. And we're just going to copy down our C squared because we don't know what the value of C is yet. That's what we're trying to find. Next, we are going to simplify what we can, and you're going to do that by first using the exponents. So 4 squared, or 4 times 4, is 16. 5 times 5 is 25. And then when I add these two together, 16 plus 25 gives me 41 equals C squared. Okay, but remember, we're not done yet because this means that the value of C times itself equals 41. So in order to find out what C equals, we're going to take the square root of 41. Okay, so we're going to go back to our calculator, and I'm going to show you a different calculator this time. This one should look like the handheld ones that you have in your room. So I am going to click the, I need to find the square root button, which is in blue, and it is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 spaces down here. And in order to activate the blue symbols, you click the second button, and then you click your button with the blue symbol above it. Oh, we're going to agree and see what happens. All right, cool. All right, so now we've got our little square root symbol there, and we're finding the square root of 41. So now I'm going to type in the number 41 and enter. All right, so my answer is 6.403, which is 6.40 or just 6.4. So we're going to go back to our problem here, and I'm going to say C equals 6.4 for my final answer. All right, before we go, I just want to make sure one more time we are familiar with how to use a calculator. So this is going to be the one that you see that you have in your room. So these are the scientific calculators in your room. Remember, in order to find a square root, we need the square root symbol, which is right here. All right, is this blue symbol right above the x squared button. Okay, and in order to activate the blue symbols, you have to hit the blue second button first, then type x squared, then type in the number you're trying to find. So let's see that in action. Okay, remember, you're going to click the blue second button first. Then you're going to click the x squared button because that'll give you that blue square root above. And then you're going to type in your number and that'll give you your answer. Okay, so once again, click the second button. Click the x squared button to get your blue square root symbol, and then type in your number. If you are using your phone calculator, I wanted to show you that it is possible to find the square root on your phone calculator. What you're going to do is turn your phone from vertical to horizontal on its side, and it's going to give you all of these other options over here on the left. And your square root button is the X with the square root and the 2 on it. So say I wanted to find the square root of 25, I would type in the number 25, and then I'm going to click the X with the square root button, and that's going to give me, oh, I think I clicked it twice, and that's going to give me my final answer. Okay, I'm going to try that again. 25, only click it once. Your square root is 5. Say I am finding the square root of 49. I'm going to click this X with the square and the 2 on it, and that's going to give me 7. All right, so turn your phone on its side, and you're going to use the X with the square root and the 2 in it.